Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to The Slow Burn, the official podcast of Paper and Wax. I'm Dr. Elena Brooks, therapist, behavioral science enthusiast, and yes, your AI-generated host, but with plenty of genuine heart and curiosity to spare. Here on The Slow Burn, our goal is to peel back the layers of everyday struggles and find gentler, more mindful ways to navigate them. Today, we're talking about stress exhaustion, that profound weariness that can leave you feeling like you're running on fumes. Maybe you catch yourself saying, "I just can't do this anymore," or "I'm so tired even after sleeping." Stress exhaustion, sometimes called burnout, reaches past mere tiredness and plunges us into emotional, mental, and physical depletion. Trust me when I say you're not alone. If you've ever felt so bone-weary that even everyday tasks become monumental, I hope you find solace and solutions in today's discussion. As usual, I'll blend facts, personal reflections, and real-life stories, some drawn from actual experiences, and others fictional composites that reflect the realities of countless people I've encountered in research and therapy. All right, let's dive in.
The slow burn.
So, what exactly do we mean by stress exhaustion? The World Health Organization classifies burnout as a syndrome resulting from chronic stress that hasn't been successfully managed, especially in the workplace. But in my experience as a therapist, stress exhaustion can come from just about any prolonged strain. Juggling multiple jobs, being a caregiver, dealing with chronic illness, or even navigating significant life transitions such as moving or starting a new career. Stress exhaustion can come from just about any prolonged strain. The hallmark signs of stress exhaustion often include emotional fatigue. You might find yourself more tearful, irritable, or withdrawn. Mental fog. Concentration and memory can suffer. You might reread the same email 5 times and still not grasp what it says. And physical depletion, achy muscles, recurring headaches, or constant fatigue. Maybe you wake up feeling more tired than when you went to sleep. From a scientific standpoint, studies published in Frontiers in Psychology and Occupational Medicine have shown a clear link between chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels. Prolonged high cortisol can wreak havoc on your immune system and your overall well-being, leading to everything from frequent colds to persistent insomnia. The body is basically saying, "Hey, I'm in fight or flight mode too often and I need you to slow down." I once stuck a note on my mirror that read, "It's not lazy, it's essential rest." Every morning as I brushed my teeth, I'd see it. Over time, that little note gave me permission to acknowledge when I was on the verge of burnout. It reminded me that rest is not just permissible but downright necessary. Okay, let's bring in a real example. Kimberly McIntosh, a former labor counselor in Southwark, London, who publicly shared her struggles with burnout. She dove into public service wholeheartedly, addressing housing issues, tackling domestic violence, and championing community well-being. But gradually, her workload and emotional obligations caught up. She stepped down from her role, realizing that the constant state of hyper-responsibility had pushed her too close to the edge of total exhaustion. Kimberly's story speaks to that painful paradox. We can be so passionate about our mission that we pour out all our energy, forgetting to refill the well. When the well runs dry, it doesn't matter how noble our cause is. We need to pause and take care of ourselves. Then there's Jasmine, a fictional composite of many caregiver stories I've come across. Jasmine is caring for her elderly mother, arranging doctor's appointments, cooking meals, making sure medications are taken on time, while also holding down a demanding job. Eventually, she starts feeling perpetually on edge, snapping at her friends and coworkers for small things. Then, she's overwhelmed with guilt afterward. "I'm so awful. I shouldn't be yelling. My mom needs me." Sound familiar? Caregiving is a beautiful, selfless role, but it also has a way of exhausting you emotionally and physically. Without a support system or time for self-renewal, people in Jasmine's situation often find themselves at the breaking point. stress exhaustion doesn't typically crash into our lives overnight. More often, it's like a slow trickle that fills our days until, one day, we can't keep afloat. Here are a few triggers that commonly push us toward that tipping point. 1. Work overload. Tight deadlines, endless meetings, and the pressure to be perpetually on. The American Psychological Association found in 2023 that 64% of adults identify work as a primary stressor. If you've ever felt uneasy on a Sunday night because Monday's to-do list is looming, you know the feeling. 2. Chronic overcommitment. Overcommitment can happen because we want to be helpful, or we fear missing out on something important. But saying yes to everything leaves no buffer in your schedule, and no buffer means no time to recharge. Even positive activities can become draining if your calendar starts to look like an overstuffed suitcase. 3. Life transitions. Big shifts, such as marriage, divorce, relocating, or even becoming a parent, can significantly amplify stress. Research in transitional psychology, yes, it's a real field of study, shows that major life changes, even happy ones, demand increased mental and emotional resources. If you don't consciously replenish those resources, stress exhaustion creeps in. 4. Perfectionism and self-criticism. The twin thieves of peace. Perfectionism might motivate you at first, but it eventually becomes a constant inner critic. You might find yourself thinking, if this isn't flawless, I've failed. I speak from personal experience. I used to color coordinate every single page of my planner. One crooked sticker and I'd feel like I'd ruined the whole week. Eventually, I learned to laugh at my plan with me fiascos instead of feeling panic. Progress. And number 5, this one is a biggie, health challenges. Chronic illness, pain, or even a rough bout of insomnia can leave you with a deficit of energy from the get-go. When your body is fighting its own battles, everyday tasks can become a mountain to climb. This can lead to a fast track toward mental and emotional depletion. Let's talk about Marcus. He's a senior in college, balancing a demanding course load, part-time work, and anxiety over mounting student loan debt. He relies heavily on caffeinated drinks to push through late-night study sessions. One evening, he falls asleep, face first, in the library, drooling on his textbooks. He wakes up with a stiff neck and the stark realization that he can't remember the last time he truly relaxed. Marcus might be fictional, but his story is echoed in countless real students who run themselves ragged, forgetting that rest is a crucial part of learning. Okay, we've identified the beast that is stress exhaustion. Now, how do we tame it? There's no one-size-fits-all approach, but let's explore a handful of strategies that have proven effective in both research and practice. Acknowledge the issue. It sounds obvious, but many of us power through burnout without ever labeling it. Admitting, I'm burned out, can be the hardest yet most crucial step. Think of it like locating a leak in your boat. Once you see it, you can actually patch it up and prevent further damage. Prioritize rest and sleep. Sleep is far from a luxury. It's basic maintenance for your brain and body. If your schedule doesn't allow you a full 7 to 9 hours, consider power naps or consistent bedtime routines that ease you into rest. Even if it's something as simple as reading a few pages of a calming book or listening to white noise, these small rituals can help your mind shift gears from go, go, go to time to wind down. Set boundaries. Boundaries might mean no checking emails after 7 p.m. or declining a coworker's request when you're already stretched thin. Healthy boundaries act like guardrails on a winding road, preventing you from plunging into the ravine of overload. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to saying yes to everything, but trust me, it gets easier with each step. Simplify where possible. If your schedule looks like a labyrinth, see if you can remove some turns. Could you delegate a task at work? Maybe skip cooking a multi-course dinner and opt for something quick or even takeout. One of my sticky notes once read, "Simplicity is not failure, it's freedom." And I stand by that. And I can't stress this enough. Seek support. Reaching out for help, whether from a therapist, a friend, or an online support group, can be life-saving. Humans thrive in community. You don't have to tackle stress exhaustion alone. A conversation with a trusted ally can bring fresh perspectives or simply remind you that you're not alone in your struggle. Personally, I'm a firm believer in the power of small daily comfort rituals. For me, it's a cup of Earl Grey in my favorite mug every morning, and I promise myself not to multitask during those precious 5 minutes. No phone scrolling, no email checking, just me, the warmth of the tea, and a moment to center myself. It's my mini oasis before the day's to-do list really kicks in. Once you begin to confront stress exhaustion, naming it and creating space in your life, the next step is rebuilding. Let's talk about self-love practices, which might sound airy-fairy at first, but believe me, they're vital to healing and resilience. Journaling. Putting pen to paper, or fingers to keyboard, can be liberating. Even jotting down a few bullet points on what went well today, what felt challenging, and what you're grateful for can shift your mindset. Research in expressive writing therapy indicates that journaling can reduce stress, improve mood, and even bolster immune function. Mindfulness and meditation. If 20 minutes of meditation sounds impossible, start with 2 minutes. Seriously, focus on your breath, counting your inhale for 4 counts, holding briefly, and exhaling for 4. Do this for a couple of cycles. It's like hitting the reset button on your mind, clearing some of that internal clutter. Inviting joy. This one is so overlooked and yet so important. Stress often elbows joy right out of the room. Fight back by intentionally making space for activities you love, singing in the shower, reading that funny blog, or dancing in your kitchen. Even a few moments of genuine laughter can dissolve tension and remind you that life can still be sweet amid challenges. Practicing self-compassion. The next time you slip up or feel like you're not meeting your own standards, try speaking to yourself the way you'd speak to a dear friend. A little kindness goes a long way. Sometimes I literally clap my hands once, like a playful take 2, to interrupt negative self-talk. This small physical gesture can change my internal narrative from blame to acceptance. Consider Lucas, a fictional corporate executive who thrived on deadlines until the hustle swallowed him whole. He found himself checking work emails at 3 a.m., skipping lunches, and feeling restless even on weekends. When his irritability started affecting his team's morale, Lucas finally realized he was dangerously close to burning out. He took a 2-week break, delegated tasks, and practiced small daily rituals like mindful coffee breaks. Within a month, he noticed a shift: less anxiety, better sleep, and more patience at the office. Lucas may be made up, but his trajectory is all too familiar to professionals who find themselves trapped in the productivity rat race. Now, as we wind down, I want you to know that if you see your own life in Kimberly's real story or in Jasmine, Marcus, or Lucas, you're not failing. Far from it. Stress exhaustion is simply your mind and body's way of flagging that you've been running on empty for too long. It's a signal to pause, refill, and recalibrate. If you do just one small thing after this episode, let it be this: show yourself some kindness. Whether that's closing your laptop 30 minutes earlier, letting yourself nap on a Sunday afternoon, or even taking 5 minutes to sip your favorite drink in silence, give yourself permission to rest. There is no shame in needing a break. I'm genuinely grateful you spent this time with me on the slow burn. Your presence here matters, and I hope you're leaving with a fresh sense of hope and some practical ideas to lighten your stress load. If today's episode resonated with you, I invite you to consider bringing simple rituals into your life with paper and wax. They offer 3-month, 6-month, and 1-year subscriptions that guide you through journaling or meditation practices, accompanied by beautifully crafted journals or chemical-free candles. The goal is to help you build a ritual that fits your daily routine, grounding you in a moment of mindfulness without relying on screens or apps. Paper and wax. Transform your wellness journey with simple rituals that awaken your brilliance. If you'd like to try it out, visit paperandwax.co and consider using code FIRSTSTEP20 for 20% off either a meditation or journaling subscription. It's a small step toward big changes in how you slow down and savor life. Until next time, this is Dr. Elena Brooks on The Slow Burn, wishing you a week of mindful choices and healthy boundaries. Take care.